This is an article I spoke on several years ago. I made a video regarding the gay bomb. This is back when they really started pushing the gay agenda. And I had so many people that would attack me. And of course, referred to me as being homophobic. And they talked about how the gay people only wanted to love. They only wanted the right to be married and to receive the same type of benefits that the traditional married people would receive. And everybody jumped on the bandwagon. But in 2020, as of today, we see that there's a whole different agenda that was the true motive as to why they became so politicized, as to why now society, America, and even globally is being forced upon the new generation that's coming up, putting it in the cartoons of children. This is not by coincidence. Now, I read an article regarding 23andMe DNA tests. Now, myself personally, I don't touch that. I don't mess with it. The only DNA test that I've ever taken was back in time when they first started doing the ancestral DNA test. I did that one. And I lost the results. I misplaced them. Right? But that was the only DNA test I've ever taken. But the longer you live, the more you live, you learn. Hopefully, each day that God gives you another chance to wake up, you learn from the previous day, the previous months, the previous years that you've existed. Hopefully, you learn from that. And try not to make the same mistakes that you made in the past that creates results that end up tormenting you and enslaving your people. Now, this is an article I read where 23andMe is now selling off the DNA information of all those that willfully paid to have them use your DNA against you. And it's predicted that they're going to make drugs. Now, they make it sound inviting. They make it sound like they're really trying to do things to help society, to help illnesses and diseases. But in reality, like I heard someone mention that they will create a virus that's created or conditioned for certain groups of people. They create viruses that's designed to destroy certain groups of people. And that just brought my mind back to another video that I've made in the past talking about the depopulation of America. And maybe even globally, but mainly here in America, depopulation has always been taking place in some form or another, either through by abortions, by way of weather manipulation, by way of drugs, diseases, viruses, putting it in your food, your water, even in the air. And that goes back to the gay bomb. that I spoke about in the past, because they tried abortion, they tried other means of depopulation, and it worked to a certain degree, but not as fast as they wanted to work, because it never made sense to me that why they convinced mainly black women to abort their children. They talked about how overpopulated this planet is, but they convince you to murder your own children. They convince you to stop making babies, and certain groups of people, it's encouraged for them not to make babies because it's become extremely expensive for the government to take care of. The white population are still having children, but the black population are encouraged to abort. And now homosexuality is being weaponized. And I was trying to find a way to bring this in, because there's so much information. And maybe when I make the next audio video, I'll talk more about it, because in case YouTube decides to remove this video, I have an audio in other platforms, on other platforms that they can't remove, platforms that I pay for myself, such as WordPress. But a gay virus has already been launched upon this nation. Well, what is a gay virus? When most people hear of gay virus, they think of HIV and AIDS. The gay virus I'm referring to is the weaponized version of the LGBTQ community. It's weaponized now because now everyone is forced to accept it. In every aspect of society, they make sure that you have knowledge of that lifestyle. A lifestyle that at one time was referred to as a mental illness. A lifestyle that was frowned upon. And I mentioned in a video of the past that when I was growing up, I've never heard of or seen a homosexual until my high school years. And it was just maybe one or two that I've seen from a distance. One was pretty well known, especially among the black women. But he stayed in his lane. Now there's the argument where people may say, well, maybe there were more people, but they were hiding it. I grew up in an era where marriage between man and woman was the norm. And no one really messed with James when they saw him. You know, he hung out with his group of people. But when it comes to sodomites or homosexuals, or what they refer to as gays, I've never really seen them. So this was something that was quite strange to me. So now we're living in a time where it's made to seem like it's a good thing, or it's the normal thing to be that way. You now have people that say they were born to be that way. They're saying that when their mom and dad got together, something went wrong that made them or created them to have desires for the same sex. They're saying that something between their mom and dad gave that man to have the desire to be a woman, or that woman had the desire to be a man. They're saying that something went wrong. There was a mistake that was made. There was a time when you had homosexuals or gays that felt that they were a man trapped inside a woman's body, or a woman trapped inside of a man's body. There were gays that did not want that. They didn't desire that. And they end up committing suicide. So what happened between that time period and now that makes it normal? Where even people that refer to themselves as heterosexual now have become curious or bi-curious. Women now are leaving men for women. And women are leaving men for another woman. Or better yet, men are leaving women for men. But now it's considered the normal thing. But in my opinion, it's a virus. It's a virus that's affecting many Americans, many weak-minded people, or even people that don't have a spiritual foundation. I'm not talking about people that just go to church or claim to be a Christian or claim to be a Muslim or claim to be saved or quote a lot of scripture but yet have a real relationship with the unseen. They have a foundation. They're grounded. Not saying that they are perfect or not saying that they don't make bad choices and decisions, but yet they're grounded. They know within themselves and they refuse to deceive themselves into thinking that there's something other than what they were created to be. And I'm going to get to this article. But homosexuality is being weaponized for population reduction. Because if we can get them to turn on each other, to have passion toward one another within the same sex, then they are not out there procreating. But there's another video that I will be making where you have these people that have that gay virus. The woman that thinks she a man, or the man that thinks he's a woman. And then you have those two that get together. You have the man that became a woman get with the woman that became a man, and they procreate and create something other than what was originally created. Something that has a completely different DNA. Something that has a complete and different mindset. They have a different spirit, or if it have a spirit or soul at all. They're going to create a monster, unleashing demons into this realm. But homosexuality is being weaponized against the population, a silent death. This article says, U.S. Army was developing a gay bomb that would make enemy troops feel attracted to each other. And then I think that this is something that has already been tested and proven to work on society, because at one time they were blaming homosexuality on a bug in Africa, mosquito. And then they blamed it on eating grits. Grits make you gay. They always pointed in a direction, a fake direction, to take your mind off the truth. As long as they can keep you guessing and wondering, keep your head in the clouds and confused, then they can continue to work their magic and their witchcraft upon you. It says, okay, people, prepare yourselves, because this is one of the most weird things you are going to read today. And I'm going to put the article on the bottom and you guys can read it for yourself. In the 1990s, the U.S. Air Force, then Wright Laboratory, did research on a variety of possible non-lethal chemical weapons. The idea was to create various non-lethal chemicals that would disrupt enemy discipline and moral. The proposed ideas were extremely weird. One of them, for example, was the breath weapon. Now, this is something new. I've never heard of the breath weapon. A chemical that would cause severe and lasting halitosis so that enemy forces will have noticeably bad breath. And therefore, it will be impossible for them to blend in with civilians. Now, this is a non-lethal weapon that was to be used against the enemies, but who's to say it has not been used against the population with chemtrails that's in the sky? It says another one was the Who Me bomb, which again I've never heard of before. A bomb which would simulate fighting in enemy ranks. The most strange of the non-lethal weapons, though, was the so-called gay bomb. So they created a bomb, a Who Me bomb, that would make people fart to the point where it smells so bad they can't be around you, or you have people that would be disrupted because for some odd reason they have people that have a fart fetish. They don't mind the smells or the sounds of farts. They think it's funny. And it's something to be laughed at. It disrupts them. So there's a lot of things that's being created that we have no knowledge of. And you have the far left, the Democrats, that's always been a part of this, and have your mind so confused and manipulated and in agreement with what they're doing, fighting for them to destroy you. So much is being created that we have no knowledge of, but yet they now want to make you high. They want to make sure that you're high. They want to make sure you're happy and gay, right? They want you to abort your baby, even late-term abortions. They're letting illegal immigrants into the country, giving them license to drive, don't know who they are, and then refusing to give up identification to the government. There's a reason behind all of this, and you're supporting it. It says the plans for the gay bomb called for a bomb with very strong pheromones that, when exploded over the enemy, would make enemy forces attracted to each other. Or as the government papers say, sexually irresistible to each other. In this way, enemy troops will want to have sex rather than fight. So we have all this birth control that nobody wants to use. You have all of these people that's overcome with lust, that find the same sex sexually irresistible. And then it says on the bottom, last paragraph, the plans cost around $7.5 million, but they were never pursued. Of course they were. It was already tested on American citizens. And that's why America has become and exceeded Sodom and Gomorrah. In 2007, though, Gay Bomb won Wright Laboratory the IG Nobel Peace Prize. This award, especially since it was many years after the plans have allegedly been abandoned, made a lot of people speculate that the gay bomb or other ridiculous non-lethal weapons may be still in produce. Who knows? One day we may find out the hard way, which today is that day. So homosexuality is being weaponized. The LGBTQ community is weaponized. Today, society is experiencing the results of a gay virus, where people have no self-control and have become so in lust toward one another that it creates the results of depopulation. So feedback, tell me what you think until next time. I'm fearless.